everything beast here. Hey, I did that last video on the comparison between this Shimano, sorry, down in the cave, get all my fish and stuff piled around. Did a video on the Shimano DC versus the Tatula SV, and had some people comment about, wanting to do an actual review on the Tatula SV and probably the Shimano DC, doing that individual review. So on this one, I figured I would give my review, like an actual review and overview. Some of the stuff might be a little repeat from, what was said last time, but it's, now we'll probably go a little bit more in depth. And I also want to give a quick comparison between, I have the 2017 model and you have the 2020 model. There's not a whole lot of difference, but there is a difference. So we'll go over that. We'll outline that so that for those people that are looking and, trying to, they can see the older one on sale somewhere, or, they're really not wanting to know if, it's worth the upgrade for them to go from the older to the newer. We'll go over that a little bit. So overall, we're going to go in comparison or review on the reel. The reel is a 7-ball bearing aluminum body reel. This is the Tatula SV TW 103, I believe is what it's called. Let me see, there you go. We'll grab one of the boxes here. I usually get the left hand. My spinning's on my left, so I get my caster on the left. Some people can hate me. Some people know what the heck I'm talking about. But it, yeah, so it's aluminum body. You have what is called, the main features is a T-wing. If you can see that there. See if we can zoom in here. You see that? I think that's on a lot of their reels, but it's a T-wing where it opens up and collapses down. And that's supposed to help with line guiding and drag when you're casting out. So you're not, the spool kind of opens up and gives a little bit more room for the line to go. The main thing you have too with these is the SV is the spool. The SV spool is, they call it a stress-free spool. It's a kind of a smaller, lightweight type of spool. And it is supposed to help with using lighter baits, lighter lures. Kind of gives you a little bit more versatility, throwing something a little heavier down to, like, maybe like a weighted or weightless Texas rig up to, a half ounce swim bait, a 3/4 ounce frog, a number of different things. But you can pretty much use it in a wider spectrum because of the spool design. The lighter, shallower spool design, smaller spool design, kind of helps a little bit with backlashing and everything like that. And I will say, with my experience going through it, I've thrown small things, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce, lighter, even like a weightless Cinco, and just to see if it would actually backlash. And if you set your drag right, or not your drag, your brakes right, it'll pretty much throw about anything. I've had, even on really windy days, trying to get some things out there, like a small weightless swim bait, like a small 2-inch swim bait, and had it, sorry, I got a cat trying to get in on this, and had it go pretty good without the backlashing. You also have the braking system on there. I've actually got, on the Daiwas, you see you've got to loosen up this spool or this screw, and then you can open this up. And we can see here, we'll actually get a look at the braking system and the spool on these. And so what you can see here, if you can see there's your SV spool, and you have this cup, this metal cup that's actually spring, if you can see it's kind of spring loaded. And then you have in here, you see the grooves, and there's magnets inside of those grooves. So as you cast, this centrifugal force will actually push this out. Will actually push it closer to the brakes as you set them inside those grooves. So as you have a lot of pressure, a lot of centrifugal force, meaning, as it's spinning, it's wanting to push out, it'll actually, the harder you throw it, the faster it's spinning, the more it's going to push into the brakes. And when you start to slow down, the more it's going to withdraw out of those grooves, slow itself down, and prevent you from backlashing. And I think it works really well. Like I've said in my last one, these Tatula SVs are probably my most trouble-free reels that I've owned. And I've used, like I've done reviews on the Luz custom lights, the Tournament Pro, which I love those, until I got my hands on these. And I had the Shimano for it. Again, I like all of those reels. But these are the ones where I can go out there and I can even do some stupid stuff as far as pitching. I was out there using this one here, the 2017 model, and was actually pitching a 1 ounce punching rig, and no issues. Just adjusting my brakes, turning them up a bit, flipped it through there, just kind of tossing it into the wind. No issues whatsoever. It was a great setup. You've got the lighter you got on the older ones. You do have your tension adjustment here. If you can see there, the paddles on those, they're kind of similar to what you see on the Shimano's. They are, I can't say enough. I mean, they're really smooth, lightweight. I think they're pretty compact. The smaller spools, so you do have to be aware that with these SV spools, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this one's back up now. We're seeing the inside of it. The SV spools, you do have to be aware that you're going to have less line on there. So if you really get something kind of pulling out some drag, or you get those really long casts, you will start to see the spool. So you kind of have to be aware of that. Whereas like the Shimano's, those have a bigger spool on there, so you're getting more line. So you've got more extra line in there that you can, if you get a big one on there that's really trying to do some running, or you get some real long casts, or you end up having to cut some lines out, excuse me, you've got some access. Here you kind of got to be aware of where you at and how much line you do have out. Now comparison between the two. Again, that's my review. I hope I've covered everything. My last one, I went over some things. Your main features, the braking system, the air braking system. Great system. Good brakes, good smooth, good paddles. The T-wing system, some people might think it's kind of gimmicky, but I've gone through there, and if you look how your other reels have just kind of an oval, smaller guide, so when you're casting and it's off to one side, you do get a bit of that drag on there, which could lead in kind of, hamper you to, go into like a backlash or things. Some people probably, disagree with that, but I believe, that's a really good design they did there. I think they really thought that through. Great construction. Like I said, I think you can beat these up. Of course, you got to take care of them, but one thing I wish they did have that they do have on the Luz, you do have little drainage holes on here for if you get moisture in there. But one thing I really did like about the Luz is you had that little compartment that you could open up, that you could, squeeze some oil in there and oil in there for your gears. I don't think this one or the Shimano has that. I think it's a great feature that the Luz had to kind of get in there with a little bit of your maintenance. These don't, but again, you get your reels maintenance, you get you some, I use like Lucas bearing oil. They'll last you a very long time. Now the comparison between the two, if you're looking at this right here, you see this is a 2017. The 2017 comes in like a 6.3, I think a 7.4, and an 8.1. You can tell the difference between the two with the color coding. Like this is a 6.3, and you tell it has a gold. I believe the 8.1 is maybe like a blue or a red. They do have color, or purple maybe it is. And you can tell the difference between the color coding on the reel. This one does have, if you can see 2017, the tension rod is your more traditional. It's open, it's exposed. So you can do slight adjustments on it as necessary. I believe the cranking handle on the 2017 is just a tad bit bigger than wider than what you have on the 2017. The paddles on the 2017 are more of a traditional, kind of like those Luz, what they call battle paddles, whatever. They're a little bit more flat, a little wider, where if you look at the ones on the 2020, they're more of a narrow, kind of a thicker paddle on those. The main difference, now they call for the 2020, you do have, if you look at the tension rod on the 20, it's actually recessed. They've actually have something, because they call it zero adjustment. What it means is it comes from the factory, and they're pretty much saying from the factory, you should not have to adjust this, and we don't want you to adjust it because it's where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? But so they want, pretty much says you want the braking system to do all of the work. And if you're asking, this one right here is an 8-to-1. I use this mostly, been using it for my top water. This is the 2020. So again, like they say, they have that recessed. You can adjust it. It's a little harder because it is recessed, and you got to put a little bit of, you know, a little squeeze, use a little thumb strength on there. But you can adjust it. But they pretty much don't want, because they said you do the adjusting with the brakes. And I think that is pretty true. If you can tighten it down and everything, but if you leave it loose, it's just like the Shimano, where you want it where if you're moving that side to side, you don't want any movement. You want it just where it stops, and you don't have any shaking back and forth, and that's where you're supposed to leave it. And then anything else from there, use the brakes. The 2017, again, it's exposed, so you can do it, but it's pretty much the same thing. You set it up the same way, and it's got the same braking system, so it is too just a, you know, set it and leave it type of thing, where you do all the work with the brakes. But this one is a little easier for you if you really want to kind of fine tune it. But I kind of found out, like I said in my last video, to get that casting distance and everything, and the way how good the braking system is on here, you get it to it's just loose, and you're fine. Now my older ones, I used to do like the lures, I used to set it to where you set it tight where it just any lures, and you're doing lure by lure, so that it just kind of slowly falls. This one, I switch lures, I don't even think about it. I just kind of adjust my brakes and go, and we're good to go. Cosmetically, you can tell your 2017 is more your traditional. You usually just have this gunmetal color around there. Nice reel, you know. You've got some really good features and cosmetics going through there. Really nice looking. You've got some openings, you know, kind of cut in here, probably for some weight savings and just cosmetics. You've got a kind of a rubber kind of a deal on here for your thumb for a little bit more of like a grip on there if you get sticky. It's pretty same. But when you go to the 2020, they kind of stepped it up cosmetically. If you can see, you kind of have it's the same kind of a darker gunmetal black kind of color. You have the Daiwa. You don't have the edges here, but you've got kind of a Daiwa D kind of etched in there, kind of cut into the metal. You do this right here, you have a little bit bigger of a thumb platform on the 2020. And it is, if you can tell, these are lighter. The 2017 is just a tad bit heavier. I think I have the, what was it? I think you're looking at the difference between 7.2 ounces on the 217 or the 2017 and like 6.7? Yeah, 6.7 ounces on the 2020. And if you can look at them, the 2020 is a smaller profile. It is a smaller reel. So you do get a little bit more compact palmability on the 2020 than what you would get on the 2017. They both use the same aluminum type construction or aluminum construction. So as far as hold up and reliability, there's no real difference between the two. I think the real difference is going just to be mostly cosmetic, that slight weight difference, and then that smaller profile. Some people really like that smaller profile. Bigger guys, like with me, I got bigger hands and everything, it doesn't really make a difference. I do kind of like the paddles, the little larger paddles on the 2017 a little bit better. Now, so that's really all the differences you have between the two. So if I had to pick one, using the two, like I said, I think they're very similar. I primarily use the 2020 for my top water, and I use this one kind of as an all-purpose reel. I do think between the two, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think the 2017 feels better. It feels a little, to me, I know they're the same, but it feels a little smoother. It feels just, I don't know, it's just the feel of it when I'm really in casting. It just feels better in my hands. Maybe it's because it's a little bit bigger. I don't think there's any real difference in between, like I said, the construction on anything, but I do like the feel of it a little bit better. So if I had to go through there, and I seen the 2020 in there, and I seen the 2017, they both were sitting in the box, and this one was, you know, $199, and this one was on sale for $189. Which one would I grab? Probably get the 2017. like I said, you're not really gaining much. You have a little bit lighter. You have a little bit better cosmetics. If you're a guy and you're really into cosmetics, don't get me wrong, that's pretty cool. That's a little badass with the spider. You see that little ghost spider in there? It's pretty cool. But I do like the 2017 better. I think if you've got the choice between two and you see one available, I jump on it. I don't think you'll look back once you use it. It's really pretty much, they're almost identical, besides, like I said, the little things that we have mentioned. Awesome reel. Right now, it is my go-to. It is my number one reel. I'm hoping in the future to try. I'm hearing people saying online, if you like the SV models, to start to look at the Elite series, because I heard the Elite series is just a little bit better. And if the Elite series is better than this, man, I'm in for a treat, because I love these reels. Like I said, I can grab these, and there'll be times I got my Shimano and everything over there. Shimano's great, thing can cast a mile, but I swear I know I'm going to end up fighting a couple backlashes throughout the day. The Daiwa, I can just kind of throw on whatever, and just sometimes I almost try to get it to backlash just to see if I can. And usually if I do, it's something stupid, like I catch a bush or something on the back cast. But yeah, again, man, I hope that gets you, like I said, some people ask for actual reviews. I hope I've touched on everything. I believe I have. They're both phenomenal reels. Again, this is a 6.3, this 8-to-1. I can't say enough. But I hope that gives you those two, because I know when I was looking, I was like, oh man, what's the difference between that 2017 and 2020? There's not a whole lot, but there is some, and I hope we covered the things that helped you out, man. And again, I hope if you like these videos, please give me a subscription to let me know that y'all want me to continue to do these videos. I'm trying to get back out there, see if I can get a couple more fishing videos out there. Fishing's been kind of rough this year, but I'm hoping that we get some pretty good ones. I was trying to take a fishing trip out to Missouri to do some smallmouth fishing, do some videos off the kayak going down the river, but that didn't quite work out this year. So we will get out there. But man, again, if you can, I appreciate it. If you don't, that's fine. But if you give me a sub, man, it lets me know that you want me to continue on doing this, and y'all like what I do. All right, man. Until next time, man. I hope that gets you what you need.